Okay, so welcome to the Capstone Prep 3 project. So basically, these projects that will go to in the capstone stages only. Okay, so today we are going to cover the Capstone project 3, the part 1. So we have divided part 1 and part 3, part 2, right? So I'll cover these questions like part 3, part 1. So we have under the waterfall under the agile, right? This is the capstone project 3. So will be the capstones, all the capstones concepts, BA concepts will be covered in this capstone project 3. So there is a case study, there is no case study for this capstone project 3. So we'll start the questions, like we'll discuss about the questions. Like, let us discuss about the first question. See, the question number 1, a customer can make a payment either by a card or by wallet or by cash or by net banking. So you have to draw the use case diagram. As we all know that you have to draw the use case diagram. You have to use the MS ratio and you have to draw the use case diagram for this in the prep 3 part 1. So this is, you have to check the how to based on this scenario, like a customer can make a payment either by a card or a wallet or by a cash or a net banking. So you have to use a message, you have to draw the use case diagram for this. Okay, and we have, right, so basically this scenario, like the system boundary, this is a system boundary, and the payment application is the primary actor. This is the primary actor, and the next, as we know, the payment primary actor will be initiate, right? He will be initiate to the system, and the second actor will be support to the primary actor. So how to give the payment initiate for the use case, like it is like essential. And next, we'll go to the view payment option. For the view payment option, so you have to either the pay other cash or other net banking, like UPay or wallet or other credit card. So you have to check this. See, in this between, like you payment and option that the cash or relationship is there, right? It is like a not include, not either extend. It's like a generalization. It's like a kind of a payment, right? Generalization is nothing but it's a kind of a relationship, right? So it is like kind of a payment. So it is a kind of a cash, it is a kind of net banking, it's like kind of a wallet, or it is a kind of a card. So you have to elaborate this, you have to draw this like use case diagram for this scenario. Okay, next the question number uh, like what is boundary class. You have to derive the classes here. So we have a different classes in this, like boundary class, controller class, entity class. So in this boundary class, so there are classes, right? The classes will topic everything covered by the your MVC architecture and the object oriented approach topic. So you need to derive the classes using the above mentioned the example one. So before the use case diagram scenario is there, right? Above that you have to prepare the classes like boundary class, controller class, entity class. To you have to understand what this boundary class, like you might have to go through the topic again, right? So you understand the class first. You need to understand the guidelines also, whatever the guidelines, everything for us, like in the classes you have to understand the guidelines. See, if you remember everything in this, right, the actor, hmm, the all the actor would become the entity class. See, the customer is a entity class, the payment, okay, it's like a all actor would become the entity class, no? And next, all the use case can make like boundary class. It is like a boundary class, like make a payment option, card payment option. So it is like a boundary class. So next, like the actor or the use case relations where there is no third party involved become the controller class. See, this is a controller class that can make a initiate controller, card payment controller. Like that, you have to view this before example. The scenario is there, right? You have to view the answer like this. What is boundary class? What is entity class? What is controller class? Based on the scenario, how to prepare the how to derive the classes like this. And then next, okay, the question number three. Place the classes on the three-tier architecture. As we all know, we have a three-tier architecture, so you don't want to draw the diagram in this. So you have to mention the three-tier architecture. Like we have three, like user layer. It's like a or it's application layer. The first layer is nothing but application layer. I mean, it is also known as a user layer. And the next layer is business logic layer. Then we have the third layer like data layer. Okay, this you can describe the classes. Describe the places of the multiple classes. So please make sure you all go through the topic once again to understand this three-tier architecture. So how to place them again. We also have the guidelines which all come where like this all the classes like so all the entity class will come on the data layer. Hmm? Told you that all the entity class will come on the data layer, all the boundary class come on the application layer, the user layer. Huh? And all the controller class could come to the business layer. It's come to the business logic layer. So you have to know the theta architecture. You have to what are the guidelines we have, and you have to check and you have to understand everything theta architecture before using the scenario, right? The use case diagram. Based on how to prepare the derivable class and how to prepare these classes. We have to place the classes in the theta architecture. Okay. And the next one, the question number, see, domain model. Okay, explain domain model for the customer making payment through net banking. So you have to draw the diagram for this domain model. Actually, it is a very unique question, right? It is a very unique the domain model. So you need to explain domain model for the customer making payment through net banking. So basically, what do you mean by the domain model? This domain model is very similar to what we see in the entity relation diagram. See, here this is a diagram, right? It is an entity relationship diagram. So basically, what we are doing we are trying to connect the multiple tables into the components together. The relationship called as a domain model. See, here we have an example. See, the customer, all the customer, the entity, the attributes, they're connected to the relationship of the bank, and the bank connected to the account. So customer connected to the payment. So you have to give the relationship to the entity to the and components like components together that relationship. Okay, so multiple tables we connected to this relationship. Hmm? You have to explain, you have to draw the diagram. You can use the MS Visio also for this diagram. You can draw the uh, domain model for this. Okay, so you can explain the, you need to create the diagram like what are the explanation to the mentor, you can use that. Okay, but based on the scenario, you can the customer connected to the bank, everything like see customer connected to the bank connected to the, and which is why he is able to make the payment net banking, right? So he will be connected to the banking, I mean connected to the account, right? So it is you have to explain everything in this domain model. You have to draw the domain model for this scenario. uh, Model for the customer making payment through net banking. You have to draw like this. And then next question, sequence diagram. Okay, as we all know the sequence diagram. What is sequence? What do you mean by sequence diagram? See, sequence diagram is nothing but it is interacting between the actor and the object. It's like a, you have to you need to draw the sequence diagram, and the sequence talks about how the data is flowing sequentially into more orderly manner that is called as sequence diagram, right? So this is a, see, for example, we have a customer, and the net banking and the bank. It's flowing, right? It's just a message giving to this bank. See, authentication, customer details, everything, the payment details, the amount, or some progress payment, repetition bank, the payment con- confirmation. So it's receiving payment confirmation, right? So it's flowing the message, it's flowing the sequentially in more orderly manner. Okay, it is known as a sequence diagram. You have to, okay, draw the sequence diagram. Actually, we won't draw, it's a developers draw the sequence diagram. So you have to draw this diagram by using the scenario. Let's see. A sequence diagram is type of interaction diagram used in the software engineering and the system design to illustrate how process operate with one another and what order. So before I told you that how data is flowing sequence in a more orderly manner. Okay. So we have to draw the sequence diagram. And the next, consumption model. The question number, consumption model. What do you mean consumption model? See, consumption model is very similar to the domain model only. Okay, before domain model we check that similar to this consumption model. So here the consumption model also talks about the relations between the payment and the customer and the net banking. So we have to try to visual the overall structure, the flow of the payment process. So before we check the domain model, we don't need to draw the conception model, but we can draw the diagram in a domain model. No need to draw this conception model. In this conception model, you have to explain what is domain model. Sorry, what is a conceptual model? Okay, you have to try to explain. You have to elaborate this conceptual model. So before I tell you, based on the case study, the relationship between the payment and the customer and the net banking. So we have to try to visualize the overall structure of the flow of the payment. Okay, what are the process are there, right, in the conceptual model? How to explain? See, actually, it is a high level representation. The conceptual model is nothing but it's a high level representation of the system. So to understand, for the to help in understanding the visualizing or some communicating the essential aspect to the domain. So how to give the key components, like see, entity, the attributes, the relationship. Okay, you have to give these entities and the attributes, the relations, everything. You have to give the scenario. Before the scenario we have read, that scenario, based on the scenario, how to explain the conception model. Okay. Next, MVC architecture. We all know the MVC architecture, right? This is like model view controller. So it is a framework in the architecture. Okay. So MVC, so we have to understand what is document. Sorry, we have to understand, right? We have to understand the MVC architecture. What is model? What is view? And what is a controller? So you have to check that. Yeah, we have a guidelines in this. We have a three guidelines for the three-tier architecture and the uh, classes. See, write the MVC architecture rules guidelines to place identify MVC classes in the three-tier architecture in detail. So how to explain in the MVC architecture is you can use the generic. Actually, every question we have a use the generic. You can explain in the generic way the answer. The BA concepts only. The okay, this MVC architecture like model, like to represent data and the business logic of the application. It represents the business logic layer, and the view represent the present layer. Okay, presentation layer of the application, and the control layer is in between the model and the view, intermediate between the model and the view. So you have to give the answer like this, and you have to explain the three layers, I mean three tier architecture in the detail. The rules we have, the controller class, boundary class, uh, entity class, right? So you have to give the guidelines, the rules, the MVC rules we have in this. Okay, you have to explain that. Okay, and the next BA contribution in the project. So as we all know, the project we have the waterfall model, the all the stages we have a stages, everything you have to explain the stage wise. So what is pre project, what are the pre project we have, and the planning what are the planning we did, and what is the project initiate, and next requirement gathering. After completing requirement gathering, we'll go to the requirement analysis, right? And next designing and the development and testing and the UAT. So you have to give the stage wise what are the activities we done in the pre-project or the planning, what are the artifacts and resources. Have to give this in the contribution, like BA contribution in the project. Okay, you have to give the stage wise of the waterfall model. Everything you have to explain in the what activities done in the stages wises. Okay, and next we'll go to the conflict management. Hmm? the we, we have a conflict management, right? So conflict management and explained by using Thomas Kelson technique. How to do the conflict management? It is like a, see, the process of resolving the conflict or disagreement between the individual or the group in a constructive manner. Okay, so it is like you have to give the generic answer. What is what do you mean by conflict management? So by using conflict management, we have Thomas Kelson technique. We have a uh, five components we have in that. How to explain that, five steps of conflict man. Identify the conflict and discuss the details and agree with the root problem. I check for every possible solution for the conflict. So negative the solution to avoid future conflict. So you have to try to explain. So this is an example one. You have to explain in your own way. You have to give the justification to the vendor. Okay. And next, I will go to the reason for the project failure. So everyone's in the whenever you're getting the project, some failure will be there for the project. Some will be faced with some challenges for facing this all the failure of the project. Like some, for example, I gather this like poor planning, under clear objective and the requirements. So inadequate risk management, like poor communication, the scope creep, the lack of the stakeholder engagement, the resources constraints, the technical challenges. Okay, uh, this all the project failure. Okay, so uh, uh, you have to verify, you have to understand what are the project failure, and how to you have to write these all things. Okay, we have different project failures also. For every project won't be same similar, right? So different project will get, and different failures also will get. You have to think, you have to write, have to understand the failures, everything. You have to write the project failures in this way. Okay, and the next, like what the challenge faced in the project for the BA. So you have to list down the challenges faced in the in the project. So some I list the see, under clear of the changing requirements. So managing stakeholder expectations, the scope creep and the scope management, the time budget, like time and the resources consistent, everything, the quality assurance and testing, the documentation, the knowledge management. So the technology constraints and the complexity. So this all the challenges faced. We have a different not only this everything we have to. Okay, we have a different challenges faced in the projects. So you have to list down the all the challenges faced in the project. You have to elaborate in your document in the failure of the project and the challenges faced in the project also. Okay, and the next I'll go to the document naming standard. So this is a document. So actually for every project you'll get a document. You have to prepare the document naming standard. You have to prepare the document everything, and you have to prepare like this a document naming standard. Actually, what do you mean a document standing name? So it's like every like, see, document naming standing is like a systemic approach. Okay, it will be everything systematic approach will be there. You have to assign the unique identifier to various document to create. You have to create the document the naming standard. For example, uh, we have a project with the ID, the project 123, like that, and we are working with the requirement specification document. So we have a see, project ID, the project 123, the type, the project type, requirement, the version like 1.0, and the date, yeah, so date when you started that date. And next, this document could be like, see, project 123 requirement, or like any requirement like BRD or FRD. You're preparing the requirement, right? Like project ID is like so and so, like AB123, the document type BRD, the version number one, the document, your extension, your date will be there, and the extension also will be there sometimes. Okay, how to elaborate what is, don't give some simple way, how to elaborate the what do you mean by document naming standard. So you have to uh, elaborate the answer in the way. Okay. The next question, uh, it's a do's and don'ts for the business analyst. What are the do's and the don'ts of the business analyst? You have to identify the what are the do's. The BA will do what are the do's, and what are the don't he will do. So first thing, the do's, like consult as SME for the clarification in the requirements. So this is the do's. Hmm? And next, don't, like never say no to the client. We should not say never to no to the client. You have to check that, okay, and go to the client with the plan mind, with the no assumptions, listen carefully and the completely unique to the client in that, and there you can ask the queries. So you have to go to the client, you have to plan everything in the, there is no assumptions, everything you have to list carefully everything to the client, whatever he's saying, the client whatever he's saying, that you have to listen carefully. Okay. And next, there is no word as by default. So there is no default in this. There's actually you don't say to no to the client, and there is no default everything, there is a no everything. So how to check do's and the don'ts also. What are the do's, what are the do's the BA will do, and the don'ts. Okay, how to check that do's and don'ts of this. Okay. And next we'll go to the package and the subsystem. As we all know, what is the difference between, how to difference between the package and the subject, what is a package and what is a subject. So you have to check that. See, package is nothing but like collection of components which are not reusable in the nature, right? See, for example, we wrote, see, application development companies work on packages. So the everything applications are development, everything like that, companies everything work on the packages only. And next, subsystem, so the collection of components which are the reusable in nature. All the components will be the reusable in the nature. So like product development, for example, product development companies work on the subsystem. So you have to view the difference between the, I wrote only simple, but you have to elaborate like what is difference between the package and the subsystem. You have to write the difference between both, like package and the subsystem, what is like that. Okay. And the next question, like what is camel casing and its uses? Where it will be used in this? Actually, camel casing, what do you mean camel casing? It's like a naming convention. Actually, it's like a unique way of writing the above the code. So whatever you are writing in the above the code, it's like a unique way the code. So basically, the camel case, how the developers will write, right? The developers will use this camel casing, and we have to understand that this camel casing. For example, the camel casing example. See, like camel small, C is a small, and after the C is a capital, the E is a capital. So you have to check that it's using the developers will be used, and in the software develop, it's a it will be used in the computer programming language. So you have to check that. you have to explain the both. So it is like a naming convention. So the communication you have to explain. So see, in this case, see, the first starts with a lowercase letter and each subsequent and word being with an uppercase letter. Okay, it's like a small letter, the capital letter, middle one, and like that you have to identify the camel cases. So you have to identify this naming convention of this. Okay, where it will be used. Okay, who will be involved? This like developers will be write this. Okay, how to elaborate this? What is camel facing and it is uses also. And the next I'll go to the development server and what are these access does business analyst as. Hmm? Uh, we have a what is the development server. You have to understand what is development server. So whenever the project is happening in the project, right, we'll get a project and the project will be certain servers will be provided in that. Like what does the servers means? Like it's temporary representative of data. So we prepare the uh, everything in the project. We'll prepare the in the servers also. Like once your project is installed in the before development, it's like happening right or not. It's like next, how we have not I mean deployment your project whether when the project has not been deployed, like the data will not be saved in the database, right? Like the data will be saved in the servers. So you're preparing the data, everything that data will be in the server. The server will be saved in that. Okay, how to the development servers, like it refers to the dedicated environment. So it will be a dedicated environment or like some server that is used during the software development process. So okay, how to check the development server. We have a okay, we have to check the development server. Like we have a development like testers to build test and the debugging application before they are developed to product environment. Hmm? So as a BA have we have a only limited access only, like readable access, limitation access. Okay, have to check that who are like what are the access does business analyst has. Okay, so next question number data mapping. Yeah, as we know all the data mapping, what do you mean by data mapping? So the process of containing data from one source to another source. So we have a data, right? Everything it's mapping, it's going to mapping from one source to the another system. Whatever you're preparing data, that source, that's everything data will be sourced in the to another source. It's like a creating the guide everything. Like we can show the how data is one place correspond to the data into another place. It's like a data mapping. You have to elaborate this data mapping everything. The next question, what is API? Hmm? So as we know, API is nothing but application programming interface. It is a set of rules. We have a rules everything in the API. We have to. It is a protocol. We have a protocols in the API. It's like you have to use the set of the rules and the tools that allows different software application to communicate with each other. Okay, we have an API. That question we have a format. You have to elaborate what is API. It's like a set of protocols. Okay.